G'day, doggies fans, All Things Bulldogs. It's episode 12 of the podcast, and wait for a few of you to get on. Going live now, just after dinner time in Queensland, a bit later on for people in New South Wales and in the south. Welcome to the one viewer so far. There'll be a few of you potentially watching a couple of other podcasts, which are now coming on a bit later. So we're going to talk about a fair bit tonight. We're going to talk about the team. Will it just be a simple case of Curtis Moran coming into the side, or could we see Jacob Kiraz making his debut for 2025 after injury? Welcome, JD. Welcome, James. Thank you for joining. We'll have a few of the junior results as well. I've finally succumbed and downloaded that Bar TV and was watching some Ron Massey Cup games on there. So it has all the games pretty much streamed. Some don't even have commentary, which is good. But it's not bad. It's $20 a month, which is a bit much when you're streaming everything else. But you get to see all the New South Wales Cup, Jersey Flag, Harold Matts, and got to witness the Harold Matts game the other day, which was fantastic. But so welcome everyone joining. Come say hello. G'day, Adam. Welcome back, mate. Glad to have you back on. So look, we're going to talk about the team. I think there could be a few changes to what we've seen. It would not surprise me. And if Jacob Kiraz comes in, we may see even more changes that you may not expect. So I'm going to give you all the different options. Hello, Elaine. Welcome to you. And it was a big win for the Harold Matts guys. So CJ will be buzzing this week, I'm sure. G'day, Dan. Welcome again, my friend. So look, we'll get in this there in a second and have a look at the teams. But can we go 5 in a row? The Knights have named a pretty good side. But look, 4 in a row. I said last week, I made a big point of it. When our opposition teams, when our own fans, and not all of our fans, but when the rest of the fans that aren't already on board, going to give our pack, our coach, our club, our bench some respect. Because 4 from 4, they beat a Dragon side, they beat a Titans team, the Eels in a rivalry match, and then the Sharks at Shark Park. Nothing's come easily for us. It's all been earned every single match. And we've been the better team for the majority of the match in every game we've played. So you can't ask for much more than that. And now they've got to go to Newcastle before the bye. As they say, it's like playing for 4 points, that final game, which will then give us a real nice break and then lead into that South Sydney rivalry match on Good Friday. JD says, I listened to a bloke in the bar. They're starting to really take the dog serious. Yeah, I don't. I listen to Beak a lot on SEN and, and the Guru. I listen to all them. I often get stuck into the Guru a fair bit as well. Because, when you're in that position where you love a lot of the youngs, he does do a good job of identifying young players, and he goes and he just loves rugby league. I've got nothing against him. I love his love of the game. But, yeah, I've seen him write off a few players, but he hasn't actually followed what's happened. He did that with Bailey Biondi-Odo. He's done it with a few young players in different sides where they've actually been, been doing quite well and biding their time and then got a really bad injury. And he sort of put it down that they didn't make it due to their form. But that happens when you basically name 100 players every year as coming through as the next big thing, and then you don't have actual time to follow all their progress, which you wouldn't. But anyway, I just find a lot of these places are just becoming pseudo media. But they are a lot better because I find that Beak and people like the Guru are a lot more respectful when it comes to the way that they verbalise, their thoughts and opinions. And they do go a lot more in depth than the media. because that's one of my pet hates is how ex-players especially are so vague when it comes to what's happening on the field. Like they simplify it as if they're just fans like us that don't really know the intricacies of the game sometimes. And when they do, which is why I don't mind listening to Matty Johns, his opinion on a lot of things. He goes a bit more in depth, and people like Cooper Cronk, for the most part, are okay. Michael Ennis tries, but they get too caught up in the media side of things, which pisses me off, which is why a lot of people are now watching podcasts, because we go a bit deeper most of the time. Some of the people out there are just, it's like, I'll try and watch as many people as I can and support as many podcasts as I can, because, most of them are, especially Canterbury ones, because they love Canterbury, and I love that about them. So, but still, sometimes it's just shit. And what I do is shit for some people as well. Like, they don't like the in-depth stuff. They want to get to they want to hear more passion and more aggression, and someone who validates how they feel a little bit more. G'day, Jackson. Welcome. We're interesting to see how Thompson goes against us. Well, he's coming back from injury, so you'd expect he'd be ready. And they've named his younger brother, his twin, on the extended bench, which is interesting as well. Have a good feeling about this year. So do I, Adam. It's a good year. Well, it's going to be a good year. We take the good and the bad. Hopefully the Bulldogs will win and help everyone who's struggling with other things, if you know what I mean. I don't mind a lot as long as we keep our standards. And that's a lovely comment too, mate, because you can come up against a desperate side anywhere on the ladder and have your pants pulled down. And that's one thing that I like that comment, because it sort of fits in with the narrative that I talk about, which is people who sit there and they basically sit there and wait till the game's finished and say, oh, we lost, so we were shit. And they find all the reasons we're shit. But if our standards are to go out there and work hard and try hard, that's great. And we do that. If we try some things and don't execute, or knock some balls on, or struggle to get out of our own end because the other team's just doing too well, all you want to see is that they just keep trying and trying and trying. And if they lose fighting for every meter and every inch. And that's exactly what I love that comment, mate, because that's, other teams have to beat us, and rather than us beat ourselves. And if they play at a standard and a level which we can't match on the day, especially we've still got some excuses. We've got good players that are missing. Well, what are we supposed to do? Proper One, g'day, mate. Love your work. This is passion. Oh, thank you so much, friend, and welcome to you. So look, guys, we're all passionate. We all love the club. You can see me pictures in the background there. Steve Folkes, club first legends. He put his club first. Kick out. I love those photos. I saw some video where it's just black and white, but you see the blue, the royal blue of our jerseys. If anyone gets images or photos that are clear of that, please send them my way, because they're really good, like to get to put up on canvases and stuff, for my own personal benefit. Yeah, I just love printing stuff out and just looking at it. So there we go. Look, it was great to see, that win on the weekend. And just to touch on that a little bit, I found it hard to separate who was the man of the match. Like, I just felt there was 8 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s across the board. And was just so proud of the team. It was easy to identify Bronson Cherry and Jacob Preston as standouts, but I just love what everyone did in that. So, look, I'm going to talk about Reed Mahoney and I'll be as balanced as I can. I'm a supporter. We don't win a third of our matches without that little bastard. And anyone, whether they're trying, who sits there and says he's not tough, he's the smallest man on the field, smashing the biggest blokes on the field. And if that means he crosses the line sometimes and costs us a play, but costs us a game, so fucking be it. Right? I've watched so many games where Munster's cost him a game. I've seen so many teams there's a moment in a game which you can say has cost them. But there's so many moments in games. I think you just have to take the good with the bad. Yes, I think because of his perception is really bad, he's a target for the refs. So it makes their job easy when the whole public have got their fingers and pointed at you and the magnifying glass on you. Unfortunately, you just have to suck it up and, don't give them anything. If that means not smiling at or smirking at the opposition for a bit, but still ripping in and playing as hard as you can, you got to do that. If that's what you got to do, you got to do it to manage that perception, because these refs, they go into games with predetermined focuses. And last year there was a predetermined focus to watch what Mahoney was doing. And they're going to do that more and more anytime he steps out of line, which is a really unfortunate thing and a shitty thing, in my opinion. Mr. It's me. Reed Mahoney's tough as nails, doesn't take a backward step to anyone. That's right, buddy. I'm glad Reed's playing for us. Thanks, Adam. Me too, buddy. So Buzz Rothfield. So he sat there last Monday, and look, this sort of fits in. I spoke to a lot of Canterbury fans who were sort of losing their shit before, in nerves. They in their heart, they didn't think that we're going to beat the Sharks. They had all the hope in the world, but they did not believe we were going to beat the Sharks. And when we only beat Parramatta by 16 points to 8, and essentially they had us pinned in our own half for the entire second half until we made a couple of breaks late, they looked at that win like a loss. And there's lots of good mates of mine who felt the same way. There was a whole bunch of us, though, who could just see that our team didn't, and I said this 3 or 4 times now, didn't play any footy, didn't try too hard. They just sat there and worked on making their tackles and kicking out of from wherever they had to kick from. Toby did all the kicking, kicked for a kilometre, as we all know. And they just kept turning up and repelling that Parramatta attack, which just got tighter and tighter and more clunky as the game wore on. They knew that they were going to play some football against the Sharks. They had to play some footy against the Sharks, even to the point that I will almost bet my life on it that Serrauto knew that he was going to put Jacob Preston on that left edge against the Sharks, even before the Parramatta match, once he knew that Kikau was gone. I can guarantee it. I believe that. Because he prefers to play on the left. He'll play anywhere. He'll play wing, centre, hooker. Wherever they say play, he'll play. And he'll do just as good a job as most people in that role, if not better. But he loves playing that left edge. He defends better there. And I feel that his attack's a little bit better as well. Not to say it hasn't been phenomenal on the right. There was that. There was Bailey Hayward's efforts. The offloads, the 13 offloads, which we hadn't gone anywhere near that at any point during the first 3 rounds. Yeah, perfectly executed. What an ambush. And you know what? The Knights will be coming with their own plan for us this week. Don't you worry about that. And if they've been doing their homework, they'll be targeting Toby Sexton next to Curran and Stephen Crichton, because that's where all the points have been coming. And this is going to lead us into Buzz Rothfield, because Buzz, just like some of our supporters who thought Canterbury were going to lose, he 100% believed Cronulla were going to win that match going there. He had no fear of the Dogs. And they had the Laundies on the Monday night before. And Buzz even said how great a job Gus Gould has done on that day, because he was so obliging, because we'd won 3 in a row. Winning's the only thing that shuts him up. But then when they lost, he's sitting there spitting chips. He already had his article written. I know how these Fox journalists work, especially him. He had his article written. He knew that Reed Mahoney in such a big game was going to have some sort of moment, whether it was getting in the face of the opposition player and having an all-in come in at some point, or whether it was, something that he did that was going to cause fumes. And he had it all written, and Reed just ended up handing it to him on a platter. The first high tackle, like, that's a complete accident. The one where he's come in, I reckon he just fucked that up completely. It looked awkward the way he did it. And he rolled over the top of him. He didn't hurt him at all. It wouldn't have hurt me little girl who's 12. Wouldn't have hurt her. She wouldn't have cried. I'm telling you, you've got to watch it. People say, oh, he's had contact with the head. Barely. Something that was 5 kilos wouldn't have hurt him. Now, if it was a big fella, right? If it was Kickout who did that, well, he probably would have caused some damage, because he's so much heavier and more powerful. But yeah, fucking hell. What a mountain out of a molehill. Look, he has to calm down. But all people like Buzz are going to do is make the game harder to watch, because Buzz is in the pockets of all these litigation lawyers, see? And he thinks he's in the pockets of the NRL and Peter V'landys, and he's just sitting there talking all this shit. And then they're there straight up. Oh, they're going to any contact with the head's going to be a sin bin. And everyone knows how passionate I am about this. And honestly, if your position on it is that the defender has, all these little buzzwords that the media fucking use. Oh, the defender's got has got a duty of care. Fuck off, they do. If you go in and you're going in low and you're the second man in contact and the person falls into your shoulder, and the NRL's actually clarified that as not being sin binnable, which is a good thing, and nor should it be suspendable, right? But if you go in with a shoulder charge someone in the head, whether it's, you take the risk. If you're a fullback, you got to take the risk, because you got to stop the try. They'd rather miss 2 games than concede 4 points. That's how they're taught. But yeah, these innocuous, I don't even know the fucking word to use, but if these things are accidents, they should barely be penalisable. Definitely shouldn't be sin binned, and definitely not suspended or fined. I think it's ridiculous. And I'll keep saying it. We've got to save the game, and people need to keep speaking up about it. None of this bullshit. Oh, you haven't had to deal with someone who's got, early onset dementia caused from too much head trauma. I know people, right? I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying our game will cause that. It will cause that. And as a mother and as a father, as a brother and a sister, whatever it is, auntie, uncle, you have that fear every time they go out to play that this is going to result in that. It's just part of the game. And why they are doing it is to get the money. And it's because of a game that they love and they're really good at it. And not everyone can be really good at rugby league or have the heart to put in the work that you need to put in to be an NRL player. So people like Buzz need to fuck off. Leave Canterbury alone. Stop trying to dramatize head knocks and shit like that. Because it's just going to make the game shit again. And that's what we don't want leading into another magic round where they do a crackdown. One thing I'm glad, though, is a lot of the teams have played the ball properly this year. And I wasn't a fan of bringing that back. But if teams do it properly and don't, and there surprisingly hasn't been heaps of knock-ons and shit from dummy half. So that was a good part of rolling it through their legs that they didn't have those knock-ons. But it slowed the game down slightly by making sure they do it right. But most teams have been pretty good at it. So we'll see how that goes. Purple one, proper one. Mahoney is a pure Bulldog that has found his home. He's so competitive to the point where he gets under the skin of spectators, let alone the team he's playing against. Well, it's just like Ennis. But Ennis was evil. He wasn't just a tough Bulldog. He was evil. The shit that he used to say was horrible. But we loved him all the same. And he should have been maintained at the Bulldogs. We got this, says Francis. Newcastle are going to get flogged by 20. Let's hope, Sam. Sam, did you think we're going to beat the Sharks? I can't remember. Hi, all up the mighty Bulldogs. G'day, Joe. Just joined. Wouldn't you leave Kiraz until after the bye? We're going to talk about that, Joe. We're going to talk about this and what I would do and wouldn't do, which means jack shit, really. But we'll see if it aligns with how you guys think. But I'll give you the different things that will probably happen if he does play, because I'd say if he plays, they're going to have to carry someone different on the bench. So we'll see how that goes. Buzz is a hater. He sure is, Adam. Same thing happened in the Parramatta game on the weekend. One of their big forwards fell with way more force than the Manly player. No one said a thing. It happens every game. You know, the fact is if you go in and you come in and your shoulder, like it's hard to wrap your arms around when the player's on the ground. So you sort of go like that with your shoulder. You hit someone in the kidney, or if they're on their side and you expose their liver, get a proper liver hit in there. Could have death as a result. That's what all family members have to deal with every game time their kids go out to play. Yet we focus on one little part, which isn't the only thing causing onset dementia for these players. Their brain is jogging around in their skull nearly every collision. So it's a farce. The whole thing's a farce. It's happening, and it always has been happening. So, and it's sad that it happens. But you go speak to anyone who's done boxing or UFC for a living. Their speech is impacted forever. Look at Paul Gallen's speech now. He was fine till he fought Justice Honey. It rattled him forever. What about Nico kneeing Bailey in the head? Yeah, it was clear as day. It looked soft to me, but to be honest, he got more of Bailey than what Reed got of Atkinson on the ground. It's just that Reed was diving in when Nico was being a little prick. Buzz hates the Bulldogs. He always has. Sam, you're right about that, mate. Yep. So, guys, let's have a look at the teams so we can have a chat about it. Present. Here they come. How does that look? Oh, let's make it bigger. I need a bigger screen there. That'll be better. There we go. 100% Nico did. Yep. All right, so no changes to our back line at this stage. Tracy, Wilson, Cherry, Critter, Montoya, Haywood, and Sexton. You got Ponga, James Schiller, who come from the Raiders, pretty good young winger. Dane Gagai, the experienced one. Bradman Best, one of the best centers in the game. And Greg Marju, who can, he's an absolute beast coming out of territory and hard to stop. And he's one we were, you can compete with him on some bombs if we got the territory. But he's also one you want to be catching the ball and hitting him almost as soon as he gets it. Fletcher Sharp at 5'8", will only get better and better, and he's very, very fast. Jack Cogger digs in well, has got all the skills. But obviously, Kalen Ponga is the big one there. Really tough, big forward pack. Saifidi, Crossland, who's a bundle of energy. Leo Thompson, who's coming to us. Thomas Cant, don't know much about him, but he looks like a tough blood. Tyson Frizzell, I think, still a really good player for the Knights. He always performs, in my opinion. And Adam Elliott, who still tries too hard on occasion and fucks up. Jaden Brayley, who will be going to the Raiders, coming off the bench. He may even start. We'll see how that goes. Jack Heverington, who I'm sure wants to line up Reed Mahoney. Jermaine McEwen, a young fella, and Matt Croker, who's been there as part of that forward pack and on the fringe for many years. Brody Jones would be a chance of coming into that side. And Tyrone Thompson is on the extended bench. Now, for us, it is King, Marnie, Saluka Fafita, Curran on the, he's named left edge again, but he'll probably play right. Jacob Preston on the right edge, but he'll probably play left like he did last week. Jamin Salmon at lock, which has been working very, very well. Kurt Mann comes on after 25 minutes after Salmon. Goes hard for about the next 30 minutes, 35 minutes. And then he has a rest after that. Harry Hayes, who is our next man up in the middle. Jack Todd has sort of moved into that Sitilli Tupanua spot. I'm not sure that's how it'll play out. And Curtis Moran, the impact prop, who plays usually the least amount of minutes from that role. On the extended bench, now Lipboy Hotboy has been going well in New South Wales Cup, playing a heap of minutes. And we'll talk about how he may fit into this side. Blake Taff, who could, I think, will find himself come Saturday as number 18 or 19 with Hipboy, or Hotboy, I should say. Jake Turpin, after playing last week, already made himself to the extended bench, which, is good. They're showing this guy that he's going to get an opportunity at some point this year. Luke Smith, who's been in most of our squads for the entire season, and Jacob Kiraz on the extended bench. Now, the refs, Ashley Klein and Wyatt Raymond as the senior review official. Let's check it out, guys. I think there will be more changes. I have a feeling. And it just comes down to roles. So you've got to look at the role that Sitilli Tupanua has played in our side. Now, there'll be a lot of people who say, and I'll look at your comments in a minute. Welcome, Timmy. Welcome, my friend. There'll be a lot of people who think, Jack Todd will be able to just move into that Sitilli Tupanua role. And I don't think that's the case. Jack hasn't been playing huge minutes in New South Wales Cup. He's been doing his role. He's been, playing probably 40, 45 minutes, different times. Hopboy's been playing long minutes in the middle. Has played some roles on the edge as well, but definitely playing a lot more minutes. And I'm not sure if they'll be able to show us the stats on that. But let's have a look. So I will present the New South Wales Cup side. Now, this year in New South Wales Cup, he has been let's have a look. Sorry, guys, it won't be a sec. So 57 post-contact meters. 26 tackles, total running meters 132. Hasn't got his minutes, which is what I was hoping it would have. It's like, bloody hell. He's played 80 minutes the first 3 games, and he played 63 minutes on the weekend. So it looks like the first couple of matches he was playing on the edge. And I'd say that's definitely the case. In the last couple, he's sort of moved into the middle and making more meters. So he's playing long minutes is the point I'm trying to make. So there you go. G'day, Eshkio. Good to see the Bulldogs going good. Yep, we got the win, brother. Luke Smith might get a debut, says Tim. I think it's on the cards, but I don't think it's going to happen yet. There's too much new blood in there at the moment. Timmy says Hastings provides the New South Wales Cup's night side plenty of experience, much like the Drew Hutchison. Yeah, he's fulfilling a role. He just costs the Knights about $500,000 more than what Hutchison costs us. So I know who I'd rather have in my team. Let's go, doggy, says Adam. But look, here's the different scenarios. Curtis Moran doesn't sort of fit in as that Sitilli Tupanua type player who comes on after Max King goes off. So Harry comes on after Saluka Fafita's, out of energy. And he's usually the one out of energy first, out of him and Max. Tupanua comes on for Max. So you've got to find a player that's going to have the same motor, the same sort of ability to make post-contact, the same penetration. And if I'm looking at it, frankly, I think Lipoi Hopoi will come into that side and either Jack Todd or Curtis Moran will drop out. That's what I believe will happen. It could be Moran who comes out again. We've seen this with our club, and the players know pretty early. Like it's sad from an outsider's point of view to see someone named and then drop back to reserve grade, especially when they're sort of off contract and they want to showcase out what they can do and whatever else. But being a great clubman is what it's all about, and it's about roles for the team. There's a chance that Boy Hopoi will make his 2025 debut and play another NRL match, and he's a player who is coming into our top 30 next year. So it makes complete sense that he would come in and fulfill that Sitilli Tupanua role to add some good impact and defence off the bench and to be able to play much longer minutes, because he has been demonstrating that his motor can go pretty far, where Jack's not playing as many minutes as what Lipoi's been playing in New South Wales Cup. So the way it stands there, Kurt, Harry, Jack, and I think Lipoi Hopoi fulfills that role, and then they will keep Jack or Curtis Moran. That's what I think will happen. I think it's a definite, and I talked about it a little bit, that there'd be a chance that Hopoi could come in. The fact he's named there at 19 as the next man up, I think he might actually play against the Knights, against that big, experienced, tough pack that they've got. I think that would add to us a lot. Now, what happens if Jacob Kiraz plays? Well, then we've got some more problems. I think you will find that Blake Wilson will drop to reserve grade or become 18th or 19th man for the week, which is what I think will happen. He'll be the 18th or 19th man. Kiraz will go into the right wing spot. And then they've got to decide, do they carry a genuine backline utility on the bench if Kiraz does play? If he does play, there would still be probably some concerns around him. So, look, I'd wait for the bye and bring him back for the South Sydney match. But I guess if he's raring to go and he's training well, and there's some good reports that he has been training and people have, had their drones out and about and whatever else and seeing the boys training, and Kiraz has been doing a fair bit, there is a chance that young Jacob Kiraz would play. Now, if he does and they are worried about him, it may also see us, if they were to go with Kurt Mann, Harry Hayes, they might drop a player like Moran, Todd, or Hopboy, if one of those three are playing, and actually bring in Blake Taff or a Luke Smith, or even put Blake Wilson on the bench. But I think someone like Taft's got that versatility where he can go play hooker. He can go play, you'd throw him into small lock if you had to. It's not ideal, but he'll run it to the line. If you get an outside back, he can go out, push out onto a wing. He can go into the fullback role. Like he has been a grand final utility. He would have been a grand final utility, but Latrell didn't play, so he played fullback in the grand final against the Panthers in 2021. So Blake Taft would probably come on as a cover for Jacob Kiraz. That could be an option. Or they could go with Luke Smith, who could play in the centres, and other players can push out onto the wing. There's lots that they can do. The versatility of this side and the way that Serraldo is always coaching these players to play both sides of the field, especially the young ones, to fill different roles of training. Mixing their spine around. They do a whole heap of stuff when they're training to prepare for scenarios in games. And a lot of teams are doing it, but you can see from Canterbury, you got these players, all these fringe players at other clubs, all of a sudden winning 4 in a row in the Bulldog side. Connor Tracy, fringe. Blake Wilson from nowhere. Bronson Cherry, 4 years out. Stephen Crichton, genuine superstar. Marcello Montoya, picked on the wing for the last 4 years every time he was available for the Warriors. Bailey Hayward, from nowhere. Toby Sexton, from obscurity. They rushed his development and it affected it at the Titans. King season fringe player from 4 years ago. Mahoney, definite, champion player. Saluk Fafita, another fringe that come off a massive injury. Josh Curran playing on the bench. A genuine top 17 buy. Jacob Preston from reserve grade at the Bears. Salmon, fringe player at Penrith. Kurt, genuine top 17 member at the Knights. Harry from obscurity. Jack from obscurity. Curtis Moran from obscurity. All in it from our lower grades. So lots to love about our side that's going out there. And I can tell you now, the 17 players that'll line up for the Knights will cost their top 30 a lot more than the 17 that are running out for the Bulldogs. What these two sides are getting paid, we're getting paid. Our team's getting paid less than theirs. I can tell you that now. Especially with Ponga in the side. What's he on? Like 1.4 million? Something ridiculous. Welcome, Shannon. Do you think there's a chance Harry Hayes starts? No, I don't think there'll be any chance that Harry Hayes will start. He's a very important player. And I said this a lot in our review, Shannon, that because people, and I've had a few chats with a couple of friends, dedicated listeners who believe that Harry will be able to start and he'll be able to handle it and he'll be fine. And I'm like, we need to hold back, right? You need your time. His role is so important off the bench. He is just as important, if not more important, than the people that do start. Daniel Saluka-Fifita is there to absorb every bit of punishment that the opposition can throw at our middle. Everything he has to do is in the toughest part of the game. He absorbs that energy, takes that energy, and then Harry Hayes comes on to a team that doesn't have the same amount of energy stocks as it did when Saluka-Fifita was out there. And it's important, right? It's important. If Harry's starting that match, and there might be a match where he has to step up and start, I'm sure he'll handle it. But it will be tough for him. It'll be a lot tougher. And I don't know if it'll help our side. I think people saw Saluka-Fifita getting bullied as a big man in those first few sets by the Sharks, probably the biggest, toughest experience pack in the comp, or in the top three, for that matter, that were just absolutely driving us back. We couldn't make any meters for the first two sets. They were making plenty. He went out there and he absorbed it all. Now, if Harry was out there and then Daniel comes on afterwards, we're not going to get the same minutes out of Daniel or Harry. So that's going to reduce our total minutes and total energy, if that makes sense. So Harry coming on to replace Daniel Saluka-Fifita allows Harry to play longer minutes, which we really need. And Saluka-Fifita really helps clog up that gap at the start. Now, obviously, we want both our starting props to be able to play similar minutes and play longer minutes. And DSF, the more he plays there, the better he'll be at playing longer minutes and stuff. So they'll be hoping that he can get through a couple of games over that 20-minute mark. And once he starts doing that, then he's on his way to becoming a regular starting prop in the NRL. But right now he's sort of fulfilling that role. He's doing a good job. He doesn't come back on. And that's because they've got these fit, tough fellas that have got backgrounds as backs, centers, second rowers, you name it. Halves. Kurt Mann, started on the wing at the Dragons. Now he's playing lock for the Bulldogs. They've got a lot of ticker. They can go long minutes. They've got good line speed. They're crafty. They've got good footwork. And they get in numbers and then get back the 10 meters and go again over and over and over and over and over again. Timmy, do you feel this is a danger game? I think we'll win 13 plus, Bulldogs 36 to defeating the Knights 10. First try scorer, Connor Tracy. Definitely a chance, Timmy. I think every game's a danger game, and the boys are going to have to really toughen up. Dave says, love the way the coach is using the bench this year. It's funny, Dave, because I think that I was a bit critical of the bench in 23. But when I go back and look at it and see the evolution of it, he's been trying to play the same roles from day one. And, the game plan relies so heavily on that work ethic investment, 4 men into the tackle, pulling players back, driving them back, really condensing them, forcing them to go around and then chasing hard, and having blokes that have got the speed to, get up and meet them at the advantage line or before they can get any momentum off the hit-ups. And it just demands so much fitness, right? And our guys, he played the same strategy. And this would probably go, well, if you don't have the troops that you need to have a different strategy. And I'm sure he did it different times, but I think he was playing for, forcing them to play a sort of I don't know if the word prototype is right, of, the prototype of the game plan was the same, but he didn't have the troops that were fit enough or committed enough to implement it consistently over 27 rounds. And while they felt connected when they started the season, they got a couple of wins early, and after losing the first game, they felt, they fell away, and we saw that Knights lost 66-0, and then another big loss like 40-6 or something. And last year we were able to get revenge, beating them twice by big margins, and they'll be wanting revenge again. So, yeah, look, I think it's been a work in process. I think he's had the game plan and the use of the bench has been based on, and he said this a number of times when they say, well, what have you changed? He goes, I haven't changed anything. They're just good at the system now. They're much better at the system. And, yeah, it's very regimented. Like, it takes fitness, it takes commitment, it takes the work ethic. And then it's up to him to make sure that they only produce at the right times. And I swear they held back against the Eels. They held back in all those games. They just practiced some of the stuff so well and executed it so well that they were able to put on points. As I said, the same tries down both edges in the first two games and actually the first three games without much difference, And then comes Sharks game, at least three of our tries weren't expected by the Sharks. It's a system. Do you feel this is a danger game? Going back to Timmy. Yeah, definitely, mate. And as I said before, if we turn up and play well and they outplay us, well, they're going to have to beat us. And I think they're going to be prepared to throw some stuff at us. And Kalen Ponga at speed can get on the outside of anyone and make anyone look stupid. So our right edge defense is a coming up against that left edge. Now, when he used to have that other guy who played on the left edge, I've forgotten his bloody name, the second rower who ended up going to England, and he played that, Lachlan Fitzgibbon. Him and Ponga worked so well together. It probably rivaled Burton and Kikau. It was probably better, to be honest, more effective, especially for his team. Now, not having Fitzgibbon there, they've struggled. They've really struggled. So him getting his trust with that back rower wrapping around and is something they've really got to work hard on. But having that extra speed man in there and Fletcher Sharp can also help him as well. So our right edge defense is going to be tested, I believe. But I'm going to trust that they're going to manage it. And if they concede one or two tries, that'll be it. I'm waiting for him to test Hayward and that, but he's getting that reputation that he's a good defender. And we know Preston defends better on the left than the right. You saw it on the weekend. Montoya's been able to make the right decisions because he's had the time. He hasn't had to really make a choice too often. And when that's the case, it's all going well. It's all going well. We should have got Dane on. Nah, no more Dane here, brother. No more Dane. Trust me. I'll tell you one day. But yeah, definitely no more Dane. Not the type of character you want. Anyway. Anyway, said too much. Buzz is not worth wasting any breath on. Yeah, I already wasted enough on it. But Damo, I love to get stuck in a Buzz because people do, unfortunately, buy into his bullshit. So it's the best way to go about Buzz is to not comment on any of his stories that he writes, like on any of the media where it comes from Fox or anything like that, or on their news sites or anything like that. Facebook, you go and talk about it somewhere else. So they don't get any advertising revenue from his clickbait. G'day, Lucas. Who's Dane? Oh, he's a South Newcastle supporter. So he goes for two teams for a start. Yeah, and he just used to be a mate. He used to come on. And, yeah, no longer the case for very good reasons. But anyway, that's enough about him. So, look, I'm happy. Very, very, very happy. Very, very happy with the Bulldogs winning the first 4 matches. Damon says it'd be interesting to see if Buzz would hub Curran's Mondo on Curran's best game. Yeah, Curran, he enjoyed it on that right edge. He got some good offloads away. He ran some good lines. You know, and I was saying we needed that from him on the left edge because that's where he was named. I was sort of like Tupanua might be better on that left edge, but the coach made the great ploy and put Preston there. And it was 100% great for everyone involved. But as I said, guys, be prepared that if Kiraz plays, they're going to have to carry someone to cover him. Because they might be, it might be a case where they say, look, we've won 4 games. We want to get Kiraz in there and get him going. Give him a game before the bye and then have him humming for some really big games coming up against the Rabbits, the Broncos, Titans and Magic Round, then a road trip off to the Raiders. You know, that's a tough 4 matches, right? South are always tough no matter how they're going, and they're going to likely have Latrell Mitchell at left centre, which will cause us problems. Jack White at right centre, very fast, sprightly fullback, a halfback who's got confidence. Cody Walker, who's got a halfback now that's playing well around him. They don't have Murray, and they've lost that. The other Campbell Graham's injured again, so plus some players like Tavita Totola and the other ones that they've got, the Origin players and that. Jai Arrow, Kaloa Matangi, they've got some really good players. But I still think they lack a lot of depth, and we can go out there and crunch that Bunny side. I really believe that. And put some demons behind us. But so, do you want Kiraz having that game under his belt before we go onto that run, or does he come in fresh against the Bunnies? That's something the club's going to have to decide. I think they may not know yet. I think they might be still working that out. Are we going to take that risk? We know we've got great backup there, so take a risk. Might be a bit underdone, but apparently he's going really well, and he's ready to rumble. It's just whether they give him that extra week or bring him in now. If they do that, they probably want to have a bit of extra cover on the bench, which means they've got to really think about how they utilise that bench and make it a 3 sort of forward rotation instead of a 4 forward rotation, which they've been doing for the first 4 matches. You see, Gus said he'd be watching out too. 11 Preston, 13 Viliami, 12 Curran. You're probably more likely to see Curran go to 13 over Viliami, though, mate. He's just played on the edge his whole career. And being the age he is, he just plays left. And he's the best left edge in our team. And Preston's a close second, and Tupanua is also a close second. They can all play. But Busby at Mahoney, if you hit him that hard, but in the middle of his back, not near the head, would probably say not in the spirit of the game, hitting too hard. Yeah, he would. He would, Damo. He would have been at him for whatever he could have found on him that game. He had his article ready to go. He's been waiting for some dirt on Canterbury, and Mahoney gave him some. But you hit him in the middle of the back and fracture his back legally, no problem. But I'm sure Buzz would have talked about it. I'm sure Paul Gallen would have said something. And Tupanua, going back to the footage on that, it was pointed out to me, he's basically hit him as he's passed the ball. What a load of shit. I know it's drawing a fine line, and did he really need to do it that late in the match? But he was on a mission the entire match, and that mission did not stop until the whistle was blown. And to get suspended for that's ridiculous. Because the timing of it was almost perfect. And there was numerous times throughout the games where both sides had hit the man digging in to pass the ball and left them sort of belted. It just wasn't as spectacular. Such a slide on the game. Lucas, it'd be nice to win a Good Friday game. Yes, it bloody would be. And that's the stress of it. And I wish they got... Sutton cost us last year big time in that game. And I still haven't got over it. And if he's reffing again, we just need to win with him there against that side. Part of me wants him to ref the game and just have us beat the Rabbits in spite of Sutton. G'day, Tony. 4-0, baby. Tony the Fifth, the Godfather. Somebody call a pound, woof. Time we move out of Homebush, in my opinion. Who's with me? Yeah, well, I think they might be moving out of Homebush, and I think Combank might be where they go. I know it's Parramatta's stadium, but it's a good bloody stadium, Combank, especially for TV. Sounds fantastic. But honestly, Belmore, they're rebuilding. There'll be no games at Belmore for quite a while because they're rebuilding that, centre of excellence there, which will be good. But we'll see what happens. Did you see Gus said he'll be watching out to make the ref? Don't give Reed any unfair attention. Oh, I never saw that, mate. That's good. I hope so, because that's what I mean. They create a whole fucking media focus on it, and then all of a sudden the refs have just got an easy job. And you get someone like Atkinson especially. Fuck, man, I can't believe he didn't sin bin Reed. But I reckon if Atkinson was the ref and Butler was the video ref, Atkinson just would have said, put him straight in the bin for 10 when he saw it. He would have had no hesitation. He would have set it up when he was setting it up. Can you check that? I think Reed Mahoney, I want to send him off for 10. Atkinson looks to have a real sort of ego, or it's almost like he's defensive out there waiting to be challenged. He gets really fired up when he's sending people off and shit. How many minutes do you think our pup TD? Oh, Todd will be allowed. Time to let him off the leash. I was talking about this earlier, Tony. He's just not ready to play big minutes yet. So he's not going to come in and play as the Sitilli Tupanua role this week, which is to replace Max King. So I think they're not going to use Moran for that either. I think they're going to bring in Hopboy. I think that's someone who's been playing long minutes in Cup. Todd doesn't play 80 in Cup. but he's just got really good talent, and they know that they've just got to give him little bit by little bit. He may play a few more minutes or may even play a few less, but that's not going to matter. The main thing is that he's there and he's developing and he gets to be with the team, get amongst it all. If he can come on and play 15 to 20 minutes, if we have an injury or a sin bin and he's needed for 25, 26, so be it. But, I saw in the trial matches, there's definitely, once fatigue sets in, there's definitely liabilities in his defence. I've seen it in New South Wales Cup as well. Like, he's a phenomenal talent, but he's still young, and he played his first year of New South Wales Cup last year and had broke arms, like both arms last year. Had fractures on his left and right arm at different times. So yeah, he's someone that they've put in the top 30, and they've got him there next year as well. And I think they extended him even longer, actually, or to 27 or something. So yeah, he's one that they expect is going to be a starting player within a couple of years. There's no leash yet. He's got to play that role that he's got there off the bench. That's a role. That role doesn't play too many minutes. Now, if they do select him to replace Tupanua, and he actually fulfills Tupanua's role, he's going to be expected to play 35, 40 minutes. And I just don't think he just doesn't have that NRL fitness for that yet. From what I've seen in Cup and what I've seen even last week. I was very happy though. I liked the run that he had a couple of nice runs to start, and then he had the run that you want to see from him, where it's that, running at a sort of unpredictable speed, where he's going quick, but he doesn't look like he's going that quick. And then he uses his footwork, asks questions, and they've got to adapt in their tackle. And if they get him, he falls to his front and he's play the balls at like 2.5 seconds, which sets us up for the next play. Now, as he gets better in that grade, there's going to be times where he does that and he breaks through, and he actually busts through and then links up with a fullback or whoever's in support. So that's what we'll see from him in the future. But now it's in small doses, and as they work on him. You've seen with Sam Hughes. He played every game last year, and they upped his minutes gradually, then give him some games used him a little bit less, and then upped them a little bit more, and stretched him out over this whole season. And I'm sure this year he would have been playing much closer minutes to Max King and Josh Curran. So let's not forget, Josh Curran is the man to replace Sam Hughes or Daniel Saluka-Fafita. Harry Hayes is fulfilling Josh Curran's role now because Josh is fulfilling a role on the edge. So when Williami comes back, they're all going to shuffle back to where they were. Harry Hayes will probably drop, down to that 17 role, or out of the team, which people won't like. Curran will drop back to the bench. He'll be the first one to replace Saluka-Fafita or Sam Hughes when he comes back in. Tupanua will replace Max King because he sort of got his spot there. And then Harry Hayes will either fulfill that next role, but you'll have Kurt Mann and Bailey Hayward both on the bench. This is the hard thing when you fall in love with these players and you go, well, where can Jack Todd fit in then? Well, he won't. He'll go back to Cup. And then when the need arises again, he'll come in for some more games. He'll play a few games this year if everything's going well with their injuries and we keep winning and the form's good. And then next year he'll play a few more games. There'll be some people drop out of our squad and he'll go up the rung. I can already sort of feel there's players that are going to not be there next year. We know that. I think out of the 8 or however many off contract, 9 or 10 that are off contract, we're only going to see maybe 3 or 4 of those players get a new deal, maybe less. And a lot of those spots, the 8 spots that are left, I think at least 5 of those will go to juniors within the club. I really believe that. I don't think there'll be a push to recruit any more sort of new players, but we will see. We will see. Unless someone big comes on the market and they're like, he's a type of player we can win a premiership with him now, and he's not going to disrupt our system and cause too many waves. What's our record like under Ashley Klein? Well, you can actually see Bulldogs record with Ashley Klein. The problem is so let's go back. I'll show you. It's at rugby league tables. Canterbury, we have a 59% win record under Ashley Klein since 2009. 26 wins and 18 losses. And a lot of those games, though, we've either been winning at halftime and lost or losing at halftime and won, which I always thought, to me, showed that Ashley Klein was under instructions from betting agencies from time to time in the way he used to penalise and do things. We average 150. We've scored 150.5 and conceded 163 from 44 matches in Ashley Klein games. Oh no, that's penalties. Sorry. So he penalises us more than we get penalties, but we've managed to win close to 60%, which is the third best record of any other. The team with the best record under Klein is Melbourne Storm, which they're pretty much the best with every ref. And then the Roosters, and then the Dogs, followed by the Broncos. So there you go. Now, if I change that to Jared Sutton, record with Bulldogs. We have the 41% record since 2009, winning 19 games, losing 27. And I think since 2015, and penalties, we've received 161 and conceded 180. And the majority of those penalties for us have been at the end of games when we've already been screwed to oblivion. Now, there's teams in the 30s with Jared Sutton. But since 2015, I think we won a game with Sutton last year. Maybe it was against the Dolphins or someone. But I think we won our 4th or 5th game under him since 2015 and had lost 18. So there you go. How's that look? James, any truth to the rumour regarding Tom Amone being shunted back to Super League? I think shunted's not the right word. Now, I heard somebody made a comment that on Instagram, Tom's father was sort of getting upset with comments which sort of fall along those lines. Like, basically, the Dogs have got rid of him or he wants out. or he's not up to it. And I think we need to be careful in how we disrespect players. Every player that comes to our club has a purpose. So they sign a bloke who's doing really good in the Super League. We've got a bunch of young kids who don't have contracts. He does. They want his contract. What do? They go to work. They work harder. They see him there. They try and outperform him. They have to wrestle against him. Every time they run through him, they want to run harder than him. He's trying to lead them. They're trying to chase him. It's the hunter versus the hunted, and vice versa. That's what it's like. That's the culture they've created. So they get these blokes who come in on money in a top 30 spot, and they've got these hungry pack of fringe players that have come on opportunities, juniors, kids that have come from Queensland and New Zealand that joined our ranks a few years ago, our local juniors. They're all fighting. They're all scrapping to be the best. They're racing each other to be the first one at training every week. This is what's happening in our club right now. It's a positive story. If he can't, he looks at that top 23 that's named, and his name isn't in it. His manager goes, well, your legacy for better money might be that we go look at the English Super League. The manager talks to the Bulldogs and says, look, Tom's really fit. He can't wait for an opportunity. He wants to play. He's happy, but he wants an opportunity. There are other clubs interested that are willing to pay his contract or pay a bit more. I'm sure the Dogs' response to that is no problem. Thanks for your service. It doesn't always have to be a bad news story. It can be a positive story. And people are saying, oh, he's been hopeless in New South Wales Cup and whatever. Not from what I've seen. He hasn't been too bad at all. He's been punching through the line. He's been playing the ball. He's been making his tackles. He's had a couple of moments as well, which he probably, trying too hard and whatever else. But a couple of plays that were lazy, which happens. He's just got players that have jumped him, have got the jump on him from the start, and he still hasn't been able to make any inroads. So he has to look for other ways to, build his legacy and whatever else. Geez, I reckon a couple of weeks in reserve, so Birdo might doing good. Hard to kick out Bailey now. Unfortunately, that'll never happen. There's a few players in our team, and luckily it's only a few, that walk straight in. They've got their roles. It's a little bit linked to the amount of salary they're on as well, of course. But I felt Birdo's form in those first two games was phenomenal. He got off to a good start this season, and he's always been a bit slow to get cranking. And that worries me against South coming in, that he might need to warm up a bit. But our fans need to understand. It's like Burton misses some goals. Critter needs to kick goals. Critter comes in, he's missing goals. Just understand it's subjective. You can have the player with a 88% success rate, 99% success rate come in and miss them all. It happens. It's just rugby league. I will say, though, if you score a try, or if you've had to run plenty of meters in a try-scoring move, you shouldn't take the kicks. You should have enough kickers so that you've got someone who's fresh, because the heart rate doesn't come down. I can't remember, someone was talking about it, and I've been watching it. And it's like, I've yet to see someone who's gone and scored, run more than 40, 50 meters to score a try, or run that far in a play, that has then actually kicked the conversion from the sideline, I will say, because their heart rate's too high. Anyway, just a side point. But yeah, I don't think that we just have to understand it's not really a pecking order or an entitlement. But Burton is a dead set, much bigger threat on the left edge. With and without the ball, especially in a good side where everyone's competing sort of equally, it just makes those players even better at their job. But in saying that, if he gets an injury or if he loses some form, they've got players that they're like, yep, he can come in and do the job, no problem whatsoever. And that's a good thing for Birdo. But yeah, I know it was a bit of tongue-in-cheek, or maybe it wasn't, but he's not coming in. He's going straight in. Apparently, Bailey's taking his seat at the canteen. Hilarious. Let me get some of what you're smoking, Dave. It's hard, but not everyone can make the side, and that's the way we want it. 100%. It's the problem you need to have if you're going to compete for premierships. And the fact we've just got so many players that just do their job at a higher level, for the last couple of years, and they're just improving all the time. It's a great thing. We have a team where they struggle to name the man of the match, especially when they go and look at the stats. It's a good headache to have competition for spots. It's great. Not allowed to share, Tony. We beat the Sharks last year under Sutton. Yeah, we sure did. And the Dragons. So there you go. So we won 2 games last year under Sutton. But he cost us big time against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And I'll never forget it. We make the top 4 if it wasn't for him in that game. G'day, Michael. You doubt that Kiraz comes in? Many people will doubt it. But I'm telling you, he's ready to be picked. The question is whether they risk it now when they've got a bye, and it may disrupt us a little bit, make us a little bit more clunky. There's many, how do I say it? When you play the percentages, for me, the percentages would be that, why does that keep jogging in and out all the time? Must be the bloody... Anyway, if they play the percentages, you wouldn't risk it. But if they're also thinking about that, well, he's definitely coming in, because he will be coming into the side. He's another one of those players. He's one of our best players. So he's coming in. Do they do it now to get him running and firing? Or do they just wait that extra week? It's a 50-50, a genuine 50-50. I think bringing him in now causes more disruption, because I think if they wait that extra week, they won't need to carry someone on the bench specifically that can go in there and play wing or center or something like that. But I think they would be tempted to do that if he plays this week. I know it's a massive consideration. He's not just there for ducks and drakes to make the opposition think. He's there because they need to name him, because they're really considering playing him. Be nice to see him in, especially multicultural round. And that's probably another thing as well. I think you'll see him as the 18th or 19th man if he doesn't play. Elaine, indeed, very tough competition for our juniors, and they definitely have to work hard to secure their spot each week. 100%. That's going all the way down the line. You're seeing players in Ron Massey 1 week, Jersey Flag the next, SG Ball the next. Next minute, they're playing New South Wales Cup, or they're named in Cup, and then they don't play, and they go and play Flag or Massey. It's like, I keep saying it, it's hard on the families and the parents firsthand, and on the player themselves. But every time they've got those colours on, no matter where it is, there's eyes on them. There's people watching them, and you know they've just got to do what they've been told by their coaches, and do the best they can. Maybe Sutton is the type of guy who likes to watch while we smash our opposition. No arms stretching the legs out, and reserves probably grow the confidence, if nothing else. Yeah, Dave. Look, I don't disagree with the with the strategy, but it won't happen. Just won't happen. I do feel the Knights would come out for a good game. Might be close. They just had the bye, but also we beat them last year after their bye without Burt and Kikau and Newcastle. That's right. We had a lot going against us last year, even more so the year before. No 5-day turnarounds last year, but we had to play the team after they've had a bye more than any other side. We did a lot of travel. It was a tough season. Very tough season. And we did really well. This year, our tough road trip's coming up. 2 weeks at Suncorp, followed by the Raiders at Canberra. Outside of that, we're not really out of Sydney too much, I don't think, if at all. So lots of opportunities for Bulldogs fans to go and boost the gate revenue for Canterbury and for other clubs. Being in the heart of Sydney. And then 2 games at Suncorp, big opportunity for all the people who live on, around the border of New South Wales, who live in all parts of Queensland, who go for Canterbury, and there's thousands of us, to get down to Suncorp and take over the town, which we can do. We certainly can. I've seen it before. There was one year that would have been 15,000 Bulldogs at the game. I think we lost that game. We got flogged. Benny Barber was playing for us. Might have been 2013 or something. But anyway. Yeah, the Best Dogs podcast. I watched the other one, but I find them too negative against players. Not a fan of that. Oh, thanks, JD. Much appreciated, my friend. Yeah, well, that's the thing. People love to drive the algorithm by being all flustered about our players and getting up the coach on who he picked and didn't pick. And, I've had moments where I've asked questions like those games where I'm like, why didn't we use that fresh player on the bench when our whole team was buggered and we only used 3 players? I ask questions, but I don't claim to have all the answers. I find some of these other people are just, when we're doing really well, they're the best supporters in the game. And when we're doing really bad, they want to tear the place down and have it rebuilt. They want to burn it down. And who are we buying? Who are we going to buy? Always interested in a few signatures for sure, who we should target. But they're like every single media report that says that this player's on the market and the Dogs are interested, they're all over it. Oh, we're going to get this player. We're going to get this player. We're going to get this player. Love the ones you're with. G'day, Pete. Just joined in. Hi, everyone. Michael Kiraz won't play full stop. Makes no sense why they wouldn't just prime him. Pete, telling you now, buddy, he probably won't play, but there is a massive consideration that he will play. That's why he's named. He's not there for ducks and drakes to scare Adam O'Brien. They're considering whether giving him the run in the game before the bye is going to be beneficial to him and the club moving forward. To have him having a couple of runs before a really important next block after the bye, starting them all fresh together when he's been behind the 8 ball, starting them all fresh against the Bunnies could be too disruptive. And look, it will be disruptive this week, no doubt. but I think they can cover it. So yeah, it's the percentage plays that he has another week off and comes in the following week. But they're also looking at that it may be a more beneficial to our season if he comes in now. You heard it here first. Sitilli can sure fold him in half, eh? Oh, I was loving it. And look, he hasn't been that player. He's never been that player. He's always been a hard, rugged defender on the edge. But he's loving coming in the middle and testing himself. Like, he's only 101 kilos, man. Him and Harry Hayes are about the same weight. 101, 102 kilos. He's only 6'1". To me, he looks like he's about 6'7" and 110. But he's only about 6'1" and 101, 102 max. And he's out there leveling, 110, 112, 115 kilogram props. Launching himself. Reminds me of a young fella, blonde fella in New South Wales Cup who's now starting week in, week out in Jack Underhill. The way he launches. His legs go flying. In the Jersey Flegg Grand Final, he's launched at a bloke. Dived at him to get it, shoulder and arms around the waist. And his legs went flying and he took out 2 Cronulla players with his legs. Got straight up, didn't hurt him. They were left knocked down like dominoes. But I look at that one day and go, oh, he's going to have his leg broken. But anyway, I love seeing it. Love seeing the desperation in defence. Just launching at players. We don't see enough of it these days. It's all gang sort of stuff. Getting in first with the shoulder. Fucking great. Hopefully there's going to be 30K on Sunday. Yeah, I'm hoping for that more. Everybody get down there. Everybody get down there. Watch the fucking game. Go down there. Sunday afternoon. Watch the Bulldogs. And a core needs at least 45, 50,000 people in it every week, I reckon. Hopefully, if you're down there, bloody get on camera. G'day, D. Looking forward to this. What other challenges do you want to see the team tick off this regular season? After dominating a top 4 side, the next challenge for me is to see the team win on Good Friday and also beat Penrith. Well, that's definitely it. We need we've ticked off a lot of teams, and we did it last year as well. I was stressed against the Dragons. I was stressed against the Eels. I was stressed against the Sharks. Teams that we just haven't been able to beat. We beat the Sharks twice in a row now. Beat the Dragons 3 times in a row. And that was a team we always managed to win the game. But I thought, with all the players they've bought, Bulldogs players going there, Flanagan there, they had a lot to prove against us. Beating the Broncos in Brisbane, haven't done that in ages. Beating the Raiders was a big deal for us. We've got to win a Magic Round game. We haven't been winning Magic Round. We've got to do that. We're to beat the Titans at Suncorp Stadium on a Sunday in Magic Round. And then go to the Raiders the following week and beat them in Canberra. Which that looms, as far as aggression goes and the way these teams are primed to be aggressive, we've been so consistent with it, but we know the Raiders can produce it. We've seen it a few times this year. Even in the Manly game, they defended like Trojans until Horsburgh got sent off. It's the teams with this aggression in their defence. I'm starting to see it build with the Broncos too, which scares me a lot. Penrith have it. They'll never lose it. But, yeah, they're a bit weak on the edges, and they got probably 2 or 3 too many young fellas that aren't right. But for me, it's this Souths game is huge. We've got to win that on the Good Friday. Go up to Brisbane, and beat them in their home turf again in a game where they'll be looking to really bend us over and give us a working over. You know, Maguire's going to have them ripe for that, and he won't even need to. They were embarrassed last year. That was the end of their season. We ended them that day. They were destroyed as a club. Their coach lost his job that day. Wasn't announced for a while later, you know what I mean? But he lost his job that day. Wasn't the Melbourne lost 50-0. It's when the Bulldogs supporter base are walking down Caxton Street like we own the fucking joint. Hundreds and hundreds of Bulldog supporters. They're going to be, that's a huge game. Every game's huge. I just look at it every week. I look at the game and go, this is fucking huge. Every game. I'm stressed. I'm nervous. If we don't turn up, we're gone. What a great comp. Souths. I'm glad Latrell's back. And I'm glad Whiten's there. And I'm glad Wayne Bennett's there. Because we've got to beat the best. I don't consider them to be the best anywhere near it. But they're going to be a huge test for us. And we need to tick that box off. Got 2 wins under Sutton last year. That was a bit of a box ticked. The Penrith thing, Penrith later in the year, that's going to be a huge test. Melbourne later in the year, a huge test. And I want to see us annihilate the Roosters. So, look. Can we win every game? Timmy says he's attending the games on Sunday. It's day after my birthday. Well, happy birthday for Saturday, Timothy. And I hope you get the ultimate present. Hopefully doggies give you a night to remember, Timmy. But very well done, Mondalwyn. Crikey, he's just raw bone and no nerves. Underhill, yeah, I've seen some clips. Looks like another young Bulldog in the making. Mate, Underhill, he may debut this year. You know, I don't say that about too many young guys. If we win a Good Friday and King's birthday, I'll be over the moon. Yes, well, we've got to win King's birthday because I'm going down there. We'll have Big Mark. We'll have Pete there. And we'll have Jimmy there, hopefully. And a few more. Pete Noonan will come meet up. And there's a few other blokes. So hopefully we can have a big reunion. Magic round, definitely. King's birthday, Good Friday, all important milestones. Remember that video, that Bulldog fan with the Bulldogs tattoo on his chest after the Dogs game against the Broncos cracked me up. Yeah, well, and he was leading them down Caxton Street. So it was a big day and a big win. So look, guys, let's have a quick look at the New South Wales Cup side that's been named. I'll go back. So look, we should be winning this game and winning it well. But I've said that this side is a lot of young players in it. If this is a side that lines up, I think they're going to do well. And congrats to Cooper Toy, who's progressed into the New South Wales Cup centre position. I'm not sure where Danny Gabriel is, but I'll have to look at. He might be injured. Drew Hutchison, Joey O'Neill, Underhill, Turpin, Hotboy, Luke Smith, Louis Grossamy, AJ Jones, Ruben Moyle, Tom Amone, Zion Mau'u, and Taniela Otakolo. Let's have a look at Jersey Flag to see the side name for there as well. Are they playing this week? They're playing the Knights on Saturday. Roy Tatupu, Job Ruck, Sasaya Kafusi, Hamish Wilson, William Afawalo, who I love, Bronson Rubin, Joseph Teupa, who's a very, very good player, Bud Smith, Patrick Young, Malachi Filippo, Logan Spinks, Jed Reardon, and Bailey Myers. Tanu Nona, Lachlan Misfoot, Chase Patterson, and Sosefa Finau round out the side. Also interested to see SG Ball for this week. Jai Callahan. No halves named, which is interesting. Oliver Smith, Kawan Patterson, Lincoln Cliff, Solomone Tupu, Sasaya Alatini, who's a very, very good player, Patrick Carey, Mace Andrew, Sheldon Abbey, and Zane Groves. We'll quickly look at Harold Matts. They was some games that weren't played on the weekend. I think Ron Massey was washed out or something. Oko Chen Kum Tong. Now, Braith Sloan, really good player. Some defensive work in that game that they got the win was fantastic. The Rabbitohs are a really good side. They're right up near the top of the ladder. But hopefully that win on the weekend, these boys can get some confidence out of that. They held on. They won that game. They found a way to win. And Chinadu Uday got on the winning try, which is fantastic. So well done to CJ. And Viliami Ma, very good player as well. They've had a few injuries, which hasn't helped. I'll just see if the Ron Massey Cup side is in, because there's a few players I'm interested in that haven't. So look, Alan Holt and Ragiri Warvik not playing Ron Massey, so they might come into the Jersey flag roll team. Trenton Peterson, seen him a fair bit. Mac Puafisi, Oscar Bryant, who's going all right. Callum Donaldson, now he's a really good player. I like him. He scored a good try in round one for Ron Massey's. And Muhammad Hadid. Now, he played in Mitchell Woods' Harold Matt side that won the comp. Not last year, the year before. And he was the front rower. And I tell you what, I really fucking liked him. I liked the way he went about his business. So he's not very old. I would say he's only 18, 19. So I think he's playing SG Ball, bit of SG Ball, and playing some Ron Massey. So they keep swapping them all around because they're trying to find out who's got a spot down the future. But he might be one we see come through, because definitely had the toughness at that young age. He looked a lot older than he was, to be honest. Really good player, Muhammad Hadid. So there you go. That's the youngsters. I might be able to meet you too, Michael. Hopefully you're old enough to buy a beer. No halves, no problem. Timmy says, I'm planning on going to the Good Friday and King's birthday games as well. Timmy says, we love CJ. Good on you, buddy. Keep leading the way for the young Bulldog side. 100%, mate. And Timmy, hopefully we might see you on the King's birthday as well. We'll get everyone together, have a drink a few hours before we go into the game. That'd be lovely. I'd love to see as many people as I can. Elaine says, thank you, Tim. Happy birthday in advance as well. Well, look, thank you to everyone who's come and watched tonight. It's been an absolute ball. I will get a couple of the old regulars back on soon. Hopefully Jimmy and Pete Webb will come on. Mark will come on at some point. Timmy will come on, I'm sure. Yes. Oh, Brad. Haven't seen Brad for a while. but we still talk. He works hard. We might get young Jaden Brayley on from the Just Bulldogs podcast. Check it out on YouTube. Short and sweet, only goes for about 12, 15 minutes. Go give him a like and a subscribe and a follow. He's a good bloke and he makes a lot of sense, keeps it real simple and to the point, and definitely on not everything's the same as what I agree with. We agree on a lot of things. But yeah, you're just as right as I am. But that'll be it, people. There's no more sort of questions coming through. Happy 20th birthday, Tim. King's birthday. You get 50K at least. I hope so. Timmy says, get a famous Bulldogs legend on like Terry Lamb or Darren Britt. Look, I'll try. It's hard to get him on, mate. Terry's, he's not big on that sort of stuff, I'm sure. Especially with the streaming. Not making excuses. It's just not everyone's cup of tea. But if I can, I will. Definitely will. But thank you so much, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. And good luck with the rest of the week. Keep enjoying the fact we're 4 in a row. We've got the Knights on Sunday. They're going to be a tough test. And hopefully we'll be 5 from 5 and undefeated leading into the Good Friday game and get to really go out there and prove that we can overcome those bloody rabbits. Get the whole squad on. Thanks, James. And Timmy says, thanks to everyone. Get Kiraz on. Oh, I fucking love it. I reckon Timmy's wouldn't be a day over 29. But I have no idea, Timmy. You'll have to tell me one day. All right. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much. Everyone enjoy their week. Go the Dogs. And I'll see what else I can present later in the week. Pretty busy, but see how we go. We'll definitely have a preview come Saturday. Take care. Go the Dogs.